disclaimer.
Yeah, we're not advocating for that at all. So we can move on from that guy, who his problems were caused not by his own. He had nothing to do with what happened. He's a normal guy. Let's move on to this weird guy out of Utah. Utah man breaks into home, makes it his own after owner refuses to sell it to him. Okay, so a Utah man who reportedly had designs on becoming a homeowner is facing charges after he refused to take no for an answer in pursuit of his dream house. The man, Andrew Blackwell, is 25, had reportedly been spotted several times at the house in Salt Lake City since August and has been warned by police not to enter the premises. But though the owner has rebuffed Blackwell's lowball attempts to buy the home and police have reportedly been called on him, Blackwell has continued to enter the home and allegedly make improvements to the house that was not his. So it's obvious this I think it's an older lady who owns the house. She's not living there.
Okay.
So he's been breaking in and making improvements to the house because he wants to buy it, but she won't sell it to him.
This kind of takes it up another level because it wasn't just a pot or two ago we were talking about the guy who'd break in and cook breakfast.
And the cleaning. And the cleaning.
So this is a whole new level.
This is home improvement
remodeling,
guy.
yes.
Huh. Yeah. He spotted at the house on August 30th stealing items inside. He was told not to enter again. But the next day he returned and was using tools inside the house. He acknowledged to authorities he did not have permission to be at the house and was again warned not to enter. A neighbor then reported on September 11th. So this guy is very persistent. He just keeps going back and back and back. A possible burglary at the home. When the police again found the man, he admitted he had cut down trees, shrubs, and bushes, removed a refrigerator from the house, and installed new deadbolts. So he's out there doing yard work, too.
Oh, my God.
No, wait. Are you making this up?
No, it's right here in the news. It's right here.
Is it the son?
No. Prosecutors claimed the man offered the elderly female homeowner $90,000 for the house, which is not reasonable for that area in that market. The house reportedly has a market value of more than $363,000.
Oh, good God. Okay.
When the owner didn't respond to his offer, Blackwell allegedly went to the home and told her he would forge any document needed to get the property from her.
Huh.
The victim, who was an elderly woman, has expressed fear to the police about what the defendant may do. He allegedly changed the locks in the house and locked the front gate with his own chain and lock. He reportedly emailed a police officer the following day saying he wanted to remove plants from the woman's yard just as long as it builds my case to gaining title to the house. This guy has no idea how this whole thing works.
He's a lunatic.
And asked for the officer's help in trying to get the water turned on because this lady doesn't live here anymore. The water's turned on and everything. Complaining that they wouldn't turn the water on until he could prove that he owned the property. So he's going to the police saying, get the water turned back on. He admitted to police he had done yard work and succeeded in getting the power turned back on. He told neighbors he owned the home and even received assistance from one of them moving a refrigerator.
Nice.
He told the neighbor that he paid $5,000 for the house and owned it. Of course, he's been charged with burglary, forgery, misdemeanor stalking, theft, criminal mischief, and 3 counts of criminal trespass. A warrant has been issued for his arrest.
That's a long list there, yeah.
So, you said the last podcast where we had a guy who was breaking in and cooking,
right?
And then we had the guy who was breaking in and cleaning.
Yep.
And now we have a guy who wants to own the house and doesn't take no for an answer and starts doing yard work and other things inside the house to claim that it's his own house.
It's an interesting argument.
I mean, how crazy do you have to be?
Well,
incredibly crazy to think that after this lady said no numerous times, to think that you could just walk in there and start doing shit because you're going to own it at some point. This is going to be my house.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like he's trying to build off the squatter's rights situation.
Yeah.
But I don't think there are that many states that actually even have that. I think California might be one of the very few.
I don't think that works if somebody technically still owns it.
That could be correct.
Yeah. So I mean, I could understand if it was like not owned by anybody. If it was just left.
Yeah.
Whatever. You could technically.
Yeah. I guess I don't know too much about squatters' rights.
Yeah.
But I do know that I think it's pretty rare.
Yeah. I mean, could you imagine some guy coming into your home and going, I'll buy this house from you for half the value, and you saying no, and then you find them like the next morning in there, like installing a new refrigerator and then tearing down a wall. Well, it's my house now. I have to do with it.
That's it. I mean, just not taking no for an answer. I mean,
yeah. Come on.
I'm not crediting the guy, but man, how?
Stalking is definitely a valid charge.
Oh yeah.
I think the city attorney or whoever is going to be that's charging this guy is going to have a pretty easy case.
Yeah, and I mean, not only doing stuff inside the house, but outside that, like cutting shrubs.
Right.
I mean, if you're that, I can see doing inside the house because nobody can see you doing it.
Right.
But you're out there cutting trees and shrubs, and people can see you doing, and then you're lying to the neighbors saying, "Oh, I own this house now. That's mine." You know. Come on.
Well, and then he admits to the fact that he would forge anything that he needs.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you're going to do it, do it. Don't admit to it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so he's got a long list of charges, and I mean, they're going to have to go after this guy because if they don't, then it's going to set a pretty bad precedent.
Well, he's going to do it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Well, and it says that there's a warrant out, so I'm assuming they can't find him.
No.
But I'm going to, put a fair amount of money. I'd say he's going to be back to that house at some point. I mean,
He really wants it.
He's got to do more improvements.
yeah. I don't think it's going to be too hard to catch the guy.
Probably plan on putting in a breakfast nook at some point. Maybe an extra bathroom down in the basement. Stuff like that. He's got plans. It'd be funny if they showed up at his place where he's living now, his apartment or wherever it is, and they found like a layout of the house, and he had everything like where he's going to put shit and all this other stuff, and he had it all planned out.
He's got like pictures of room and board, magazines up and circled and crossed out, and IKEA over here.
That's right. I'm afraid now Dave's going to be in my house trying to do that kind of crap. Dave, if you do that, I'll move out. You can have the kids.
I was going to say.
Go ahead. Have the kids and the wife. And the dog, too.
Now, your house doesn't need a whole lot of remodeling, in my opinion. It's quite nice. But,
No.
yeah, that would be if I want to make an improvement or two and just kind of...
Yeah, if you guys want to show up and do improvements, feel free.
Yeah.
I mean, run them past me first.
Yeah. So, again, we have more crazy people in the news doing crazy stuff. I don't, guys. I want to bring this up because I'm sure this kind of stuff happened back in the 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, before the dawn of the internet. I'm sure this kind of stuff happened.
Oh,
we
sure,
just
yeah.
never knew about it because
Right.
there was no 24-hour news network to tell us about these things.
And let alone the internet, yeah. No, I totally agree.
That's what gets me, and I'm going to go a little bit serious here, is people get so concerned about shootings and things of that nature.
Right.
But you never saw those things
Right,
before.
exactly.
So you think the world is worse now? Well, you really didn't know what the world was like back in the 50s
Yeah,
and
you're
60s.
just more aware.
You're just more aware. You knew what was going on in your area, but you didn't know what was going on 20 miles away.
Right.
You're just more aware now.
Yeah, I mean, people aren't they may be fundamentally changing. You could make that case, but it's not happening at the pace that you might think it's happening at now.
No.
Just because of everything
Yeah.
you're seeing. You're seeing everything all the time.
Yeah, and I think to get really serious, I guess, a lot of people will make that case about terrorism. Like, terrorism is on the rise, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's actually not. We've had terrorists for
Going
centuries.
on for years and years and years.
I mean, it's just, we know it. We just know it now.
And that's what gets me is you have social media, and I'll have people, friends or family on Facebook, they'll post something about something that happened in South Dakota, and it's, alert, blah, 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 this is going on, and we should watch out for this. And I'm going, this has always been happening.
Yeah.
You just didn't know about it because there was no social media back in 1982.
Right.
That's the way it works.
Yeah, I remember there was that, it was a recent news story because they just got their charges dismissed. The two guys from, I think it was North Dakota, that got caught smuggling a obnoxious amount of weed into Minnesota.
Yeah.
They got their charges dismissed because of an illegal search.
Yeah.
But I remember when the story first broke, people were all concerned because it's like, weed's legalized in so many states now, and this is going to be such a big problem, and can't believe how bad it's become. And it's no, you think no one ever tried to smuggle a bunch of weed into the state of Minnesota 30 years ago?
It's been happening for a long time.
Always happened.
Yeah. I mean, come on, people.
It's like,
It's always been happening.
I mean, where do you think the people from that 70s show got their weed?
Exactly.
It was smuggled into Wisconsin.
That's right.
It's not like they grew it.
I mean, we talk. I mean, to go political on you, we talk about the border of Mexico and how they come with these numbers of people crossing the border. I'm like,
Right.
they've been crossing the border for flipping years, guys.
Exactly.
It's not a new concept here.
Yeah, it's
You act like it's a new. It's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking. Before we get out of here, guys, I do want to bring up one more stupid news story because it happened just recently with the Minnesota Vikings. We got to bring this up.
Oh, yeah.
because it's just the stupidest.
Recently,
Well, it happened.
If you're talking about stupid news, you
happened this morning.
Yeah,
Right.
early
Yeah.
this morning.
What's his name?
J-Ron Curse.
J-Ron Curse, safety for the Minnesota Vikings. They were off this weekend because they played Thursday night against Washington.
So when you don't have a game, you go party.
That's right. 3:40 in the morning. He was trying to get on 94 from Cedar Avenue, and he went around a barrier.
Yeah, because part of the eastbound lanes of 94 are closed
off,
right now. Yeah.
Went around a barrier, of course. He got pulled over. He blew a .10, and then they found a loaded gun in his car. I mean, how stupid do you have to be?
yeah.
And he was with other people too. I think
yeah.
At least 2 other people in the car.
Exactly.
Just like, to go around a barrier.
What when it's that early in the morning, and you're driving around, and you had a couple drinks in you go straight to where you're going, okay? Or you take an Uber, or you take a limo, or whatever it is. You make enough money, right?
Right, yeah.
And if you're gonna drive, don't do stupid shit.
Well, Tony, nothing good happens after midnight.
Well, of course
I
it
think is what
doesn't.
They say, so.
Yeah.
Very few things happen.
No.
I mean,
Very
good
few
things happen, of course, but if you're talking in general, out and about, that's what I mean.
I would bet that if very few good things happen after midnight, even fewer good things happen after 2 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
I
right.
mean,
Or 4 a.m.
Or
4.
3 or whatever it is.
Yeah. I mean,
But again, we already talked about professional athletes doing stupid stuff like Kalman, right?
right.
Again, we're talking about a professional athlete doing something stupid when you make a shit ton of money.
Right.
And you have a way to get from point A to point B with an Uber or a limo. Some of these teams even have services to come pick you up.
Right, yeah,
Then you
yeah.
call the team and say, I need you picked up because I'm drinking at this club. Come pick me up.
Right.
What the are you guys doing?
Well, and you have to wonder. I brought this up, before we started the podcast, with how they phrase the loaded gun thing.
Yeah.
You have to assume that it wasn't properly cased like it's
Oh, it was
supposed to
not.
be.
No.
So there's another stupid thing. It's
And
like
he didn't have a permit either.
Oh, I didn't read that.
Didn't have a permit.
Okay, so that means that the firearm is entirely illegal.
Yeah.
So he was illegally transporting an illegal weapon.
So I mean, you could have
While drunk.
a handgun. You could have a handgun in a case in, let's say, your trunk.
Yeah.
That's fine. But presumably this was in the passenger compartment
Exactly,
somewhere.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they'd say it was in the trunk if it was in the trunk. Yeah.
I mean,
I think it's got to be out of reach of the driver.
it's just it's
Tony, you seem especially upset about
guys,
this now. Is it
kills me.
specifically?
It's the whole athletes thing.
Okay,
man.
it's general athlete. It's
General
not.
athlete.
I mean, at
man.
least he has only played like 5 games.
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
getting. Are you upset about the Vikings or just in
No,
general?
I'm not upset about the Vikings. I'm upset about athletes in general doing stupid things when you make a shit ton of money.
See, now here's the question. The internet has made us very much aware of things, right? We just talked about that. So, do you think that there is a progressive? What do I want to say? Do you think athletes are getting progressively more stupid, or is it that we're more aware of the things they're doing?
It's both.
It's that, and I think part of it is they're making more and more money.
Yeah.
Because here's the problem: if you're the same, let's say it's me, and tomorrow somebody gives me $50 million.
Yeah.
Am I really going to change as a person? I'm not saying I do stupid things like athletes, but I mean, I'm just saying in general, am I going to change a whole lot because you've given me this money? Yeah, I might go buy this and that or do that.
Yeah.
But am I changing as a person? If I was engaged in stupid stuff now, won't I still be engaged in stupid stuff?
You think
because
You'll be.
that's what I know. I know what I know.
Yeah.
And so the thought process of, I have $50 million, now I can just hire a driver and take me around. That just doesn't go through their head.
Right.
So.
Well, the other thing too is with social media, is we hear about these things, but back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, athletes still did stupid things.
Oh, yes.
But the cops would say, "Oh, you're so and so. Let me drive you home. Let me do this." My dad brings up great stories from the Iron Range. He knew all the cops in town.
Yeah.
Him and his buddies would be out on the pits drinking or smoking weed. The cop would show up and be like, "If you don't want me to tell your grandpa or your dad, get your ass home now." He wouldn't arrest them. Nowadays, you get arrested. It is.
Point.
We have cameras on our body cams now. We have all that stuff.
Oh,
you're going to get arrested.